That was interesting there from Chris Long. He went on to talk more about Kellen Moore and what he brings to the table. And you know what? If you like bombs away down the field, we'll get some of that with Kellen Moore here.
You look at who Kellen Moore is in the same vein of me laying out schematically who I think Vic Fangio is. I think he's a West Coast guy that puts a twist on it. When you think West Coast offense, you think of Dinkin and Duncan, you think of the short game, you think of quick release, a run game that marries with the pass concepts, and you see that so often with some of these West Coast tree guys. But don't get it twisted. This guy is not a dink and dunk guy. You know, he's going to take shots vertically. He prefers having that element in his game plans, and I think that's a good thing. And it's not going to be music to people's ear in Philly who were screaming all year about short game. I think he's going to have those elements in his offense. You know, he's going to have hots. He's going to have easy answers for quarterback, but I also think having that vertical element will make them look more like 2022.
Well, 22 piques my interest because that was an incredible year. Jalen down the field to A.J. and Devontae, big plays. So clearly here, Hugh, we're seeing Chris Long is a fan of Kellen Moore, what he brings to the table. So here's what I'm thinking. As everyone set their coaching staff now, right? Every head coach has been hired. There's no more openings. Yesterday, of course, Dan Quinn got the job in Washington. Hugh, the more we remove ourselves from the decision the Eagles made, and you guys know I thought they should have moved on from Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
I am starting to talk myself into this coaching staff that they put together. I do think there is a chance that Moore and Fangio can prop this thing up the way we saw Steichen and Gannon prop it up 2 years ago. Hugh, I'm talking myself into this a little bit. We both like Fangio.
Yes. And
I'm hearing good things more and more, no pun intended, about Kellen Moore. I am talking myself into this coach staff. Hugh, what are you feeling as the dust is settling here with coaches around the NFL?
Not yet. I like the coaching staff that we've assembled, but I'm not sold yet. I need to figure out what the philosophy is going to be. And part of this is because, Joe, we haven't had training camp and all that other good stuff, and I hear good things about Coach Moore. But I think there needs to be an element to running the ball here because that was a big deficiency. And I understand everything that Chris Long is saying about the hot reads and all this other stuff because – in essence, it's kind of like when Andy Reid was here. Like some of those plays that you can run with the flat routes and everything, those are like running plays. But no, I need to see flat out handing the ball off to the running back and letting him do his thing. I think for Jalen, because right now I feel like that would help him out. That would be a huge asset for him. If you can get a back there that can run between the tackles and take some of the pressure off of him trying to run the football.
Yeah, I think they had Swift this past year. I think they need to just, if they're going to run it.
I like Swift. I don't think he was used adequately. I'm talking about like a bell cow.
You want a thumper.
I want a little bit of a thumper.
Yeah, you know what?
Sounds weird. Pause.
It does.
I think I need to pause.
But people know what you're saying. Yeah. I think. Yeah, a thumping running back.
Yeah, one that's going to make it happen.
Yes. Yeah. Here's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling Kellen Moore's track record. Although Dak did play better, his best football this year without him, he did help Dak elevate in his time there in Dallas. And I'm looking at a guy that, although he has been in a couple stops and still young, he's called plays for a lot of years here. I think Kellen Moore is going to be a higher level coordinator than Brian Johnson, probably the minute he walks in the building. Probably already is. And Fangio is one of the best. And I know there's people out there like, oh, Vic Fangio, the Fangio defense. I don't want that. Bend but don't break. The guy's got a track record. I am talking myself more into this staff as it played out. Look, it took me a couple weeks to move on from the idea they're not moving on from Sirianni. I have to accept it. We got to move on. He's the coach this year. I don't think he's a high-level coach, but he did get to a Super Bowl with two really outstanding coordinators. That's the formula they're trying again. 215-592-9494. All right, we'll throw the Eagles in the mix here. Are you starting to talk yourself into this staff here for the Philadelphia Eagles? Kyle, what do you think? I mean, what was it, 2-3 weeks ago, we're sitting here on Sirianni Watch, and things didn't change. But as I'm watching the staffs assemble across the NFL, you know, Quinn's out of Dallas, so that hurts them a little bit here, right? They don't have quite a great staff around McCarthy. You look up and you're like, all right, Dan Quinn, and we'll see who he hires a coordinator. Brian Dable cursing at Wink Martindale and getting him to leave the building. And then who am I missing in the NFC East? You got, the Commanders, right? Dan Quinn and then
Commodores.
And McCarthy and who knows, right?
Potentially Chip Kelly.
Well, that's part of it too.
There's a name that's been thrown out there.
When you add it together, it's like, all right, Sirianni, Moore, Fangio. it still may line up as the best trio in the NFC East. So I'm starting to talk myself in that this could work a little bit.
Yeah, I'm starting to see that the painting come together, and I compare it to, you guys are familiar with the Bob Ross, the show where Bob Ross is doing all the painting.
I grew up on it.
Tree guy.
Everybody does that.
I used to have a Happy
Squirrels in the
Tree
trees.
t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So you ever watch that and you see him put that big brown streak in the middle of the painting? You're like, hold on, what the hell is this guy doing? Like, there's no way this is going to look good. And then he starts doing things around it. Things start coming together, and you're like, wow, that's a beautiful painting. Why was I ever freaking out?
Be honest,
about
Kyle, you was trying to paint with Bob Ross, weren't you?
No. I knew that was well above my my skill set. I never attempted to do it, but when it was just them bringing back Nick Sirianni, it's that big brown streak on the Bob Ross painting where you're like, what the hell is this? But then they sort of build Vic Fangio, the Kellen Moore around him, and you're like, okay, I'm starting to see the painting come together. I agree. I think they have the best coaching staff in the NFC, so let's go do this thing.
Yeah, it's not what if I was in charge, this wouldn't have been what it is. But when you watch the whole painting, to use the Bob Ross analogy that Kyle brought to us, and I watched that guy for hours of my childhood, that painting usually came out and looked pretty good. I don't know what the hell Bob was doing to get there. I don't know if he knew it, but it worked at the end of the day.
Bob was that dude, too.
Bob was. You said you watched the documentary on Bob Ross?
I did watch the documentary. He had some stuff going on with his family members and stuff. It was really weird. But it was a good documentary.
Was it called Happy Trees, the documentary?
I forgot what the name of it was.
Because that was his
in a
whole
while.
thing. Happy Accidents.
It was a while.
Happy Trees is what he was doing with the gummies.
Oh, that's right. Happy Accidents was his
Happy
thing.
Trees, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Happy Accidents, yeah.
Happy Accidents. All right, 215-592-9494. We'll get to all your phone calls right now. On Embiid, would you be okay punting the season? And you're talking yourself into the coaching staff the Eagles have put together here, especially as you watch everything else play out, all the guys that did get hired across the NFL, and obviously the big names that didn't get hired. Jeff is in Wilmington. Hey, Jeff.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Jeff?
Joe, the last time the Sixers won a championship, I was 18 years old in 1983. I'm totally okay with with running this as it is with Joel and maybe adding a piece or two. We've only had two other stars in that 40-year span, Iverson and Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
And Iverson was the closest one to get to it. I thoroughly enjoyed that season like I'm enjoying this season because I can't see punting away for what? I said this the other day, the one constant we've had with Joel is that he gets hurt. He was hurt for 2 years before we drafted him. He didn't even play for 2 years or a year and a half or whatever it was. So it's not like this is any surprise. So I'm willing to just go ahead and try to figure out a way to get somebody else in here to help him out or help the team out and run with what we have because what you're basically asking to do a mini tank for the rest of the season.
I mean, the team is still going to go out and compete.
Mini tank.
My point is I'm just not willing to invest assets like the picks they have that they could trade for someone at some point, right? They don't have to use them by next Thursday. They could hold on to them. And the other part is, Jeff, I just never feel like since the beginning of this, they've actually taken his health super seriously. They kind of halfway this where they're like, are you hurt? I don't know, go rest for 6 weeks, put a brace on it, and we'll see what happens. And then he keeps getting hurt. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I just wonder if they're big picture about this and they actually shut him down, maybe next year he's got a better chance of staying healthy.
I just don't want to shut him down for the rest of the year because why watch the team? I mean, Maxey can't carry that team by himself.
Well, we agree on that. Yeah, I mean, it would certainly lessen their chances. And Jeff, we appreciate it. I think we all realize that. What I'm effectively saying is whatever chance you think they have to go
it's better with him on the court.
Yeah, and whatever chance you think they have, it would take it down to almost zero. And I guess the difference for me is I don't think they're going to win the title anyway. If I thought this was a title team, I'd say, put a brace on it. Like Jalen last year. Remember Jalen had the shoulder issue?
Yeah.
I mean, no one was saying shut Jalen down because we had a chance to win a Super Bowl. So it's like, Jalen, play through it. Like, let's get that shoulder as healthy as you can, and let's take a run at this thing. And it almost worked because they were a number one seed.
Yeah.
This team is, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good team, but they're not that.
I think every chance that you get to play the season and get a chance to be in the playoffs, you should take full advantage of that, regardless of what the circumstances are. And it's unfortunate for us that we've been having to deal with this injury bug with Joel Embiid for the last couple of years. But I'm confined, or I'm at the point now where I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to enjoy him for what he is, and knowing that he's going to get hurt, and try not to put that much pressure on him. And the fact that we have a better head coach makes me a little bit more comfortable going into it, knowing that strategically this coach is going to probably put him in better position to be successful.
Yeah, well, it's the best coach they've had strategically since Larry Brown. I mean, it's been a long time since they had someone on the sidelines you felt like it's going to give you a real edge strategically. I liked Brett Brown. That wasn't his thing. Doc, we know the Doc experience where that's the strategy in the postseason is not his thing. So, yeah, it's been a while, and I agree that could help them.